The Persian language can be very flowery, very poetic. There's a lot of symbolism in what we say. There's indirectness in what we say. Like my father, for God bless him, would come home and say, "We have guests tonight." That means go clean your room. So you have to be able to read through the between the lines.
2026年2月28日，美以联合袭击伊朗，中东局势骤然升温。但在军事打击与政治喧嚣之外，何为伊朗？小说《德黑兰的屋顶》作者马赫布·萨拉杰为我们提供了一个视角。他从小巷与屋顶出发，勾勒出鲜活的伊朗民众以及悠久的波斯文化。今年2月，19岁便赴美留学生活，如今年近7旬的萨拉杰向澎湃新闻记者回忆他的故土与青春。
First of all, Iranian rooftops are flat. So they're not like American rooftops where they're slanted. So a lot of people during summertime would go up there and sleep on the rooftop. They put mattresses down, and it was also a place where people would gather, and you could talk to your neighbor. You would talk to the neighbor 3 doors down. It was, I think, a symbol of openness, a symbol of community on the rooftop, a place where people share secrets, like Ahmed and Pasha sitting talking about the women they love. It's also a place where when you're that high up, you can see everything. I actually went home 20 some years later and I found some of my friends and I said, "Hey, let's go on the rooftop." And they said, "Why?" So they don't do that. And I realized, it hit me suddenly that that's not the custom anymore. There was a saying in Iran back then, teacher's punishment is a gift from God, meaning you would learn something by being punished for not doing your homework, for not learning the subject you're supposed to learn. But one time, a teacher asked me a math question. I didn't have the answer. And he told me to get out. I got out, and he told me to hold my hands out like this. And he hit me 12 times, 6 times in this hand, 6 times in this. I was almost crying. It was so painful. I would never miss my homework because the back of my teacher could pull me out, beat the heck out of me. We had one teacher who actually would play soccer with us. See, back then in Iran, we had a shortage of teachers. They would take these university students and make them teachers. So as part of not paying tuition, they would come and teach. There weren't that many universities or colleges back then. And there was an exam called concours. You had to take that exam, and only the top 1% of the people, or 2%, I can't remember, would get into universities. Those of us who came out actually were the dumb ones, because we couldn't get into the universities inside Iran. So my father was actually a boxer. He was a heavyweight boxing champion. My father had a punching bag in the house, and very early on started teaching us, okay, this is how you hit, this is how you block. And, when you learn boxing, you join this fraternity of sportsmen, and you don't go beat up people who are weaker than you are. He was a huge man. He was a big man. He was not scared of anyone, but he had this soft, very kind layer. And my father became a lawyer. Like if somebody didn't have money to pay for legal fees, he would do it. He would help people out. And that always stayed with me, that you can be tough, but you can be kind. My uncle uh, passed away when he was 27. I was hit by a car and died. And my grandma never took the black off. She wore black for the rest of her life. And every time we would go to the graveside, she would beat herself up and would scratch her face to a point where she would start bleeding all over, and then she'll pass out. Historically, Iran was seem to be always in war, as most ancient nations were, right? We have a rich history, and a lot of it is defined by wars, and not necessarily the wars we won, but what people remember are the wars in which we were badly defeated, but the Persian language survived, the Persian writing survived. And my father was saying basically that when your history is full of atrocities committed against the people, you have no way of fighting back but to just let your emotions out. What else do you have to use? When somebody kills your kid, when somebody kills your mother, your father, you know, what else do you have? But to scream, but to cry, but to show your emotions and seek justice from the only person who can give you justice, which is God. I said part of the reason I wanted to write this book is to show a side of Iran that you don't hear about in the news, you don't hear on TV about. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, well, let's bomb Israel, let's destroy Israel, let's kill Americans, let's do this. People don't do that. That's not how people live. You wake up in the morning and you want to be happy, you want to laugh, you hear a joke, you laugh, you hear a sad story, you cry. You know, you want health for your children, for yourself, for your family, you want security. That's exactly how Iranians are.